Auburn needs the 2024 version of this guy back.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie 5.
So we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie 5, and we are ready to get after it. One full week of live, all the way live, and we're going to keep this train rolling. Glad you guys could be here. We're going to talk about Caleb Harris today, man. We need the 2024 version of Caleb Harris back. We're going to talk about the three sophomore DBs that are coming up, how they can all make an impact, because the transfers are getting a lot of love. I think these three sophomores are going to make some noise as well, and then we're going to go and do everyone's favorite segment for the second time, version 2.0, the Jackarse of the week. Let's jump right into it, though. Look, I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. I am by no means that saying Caleb Harris was buns last year. I'm not by any means saying that Caleb Harris was a liability. But sometimes, really in any walk of life, when you set a standard so high, people are going to look at you to hit that standard again over and over and over again. And Caleb Harris's 2024 season was really unreal. Like it was incredible. And it was just obviously his true freshman year. Remember, he was one of those late additions to the recruiting class in that 2024 recruiting class. Really unheralded. Honestly, not even honestly, he was the lowest rated player of that whole class. Well, he just comes in, sort of camouflage, nobody really paying attention much to him, expecting much out of him, wearing a, not great, in my opinion, safety number, 18. It seems like a quarterback number. Wasn't crazy about it. You know how I am about numbers. But he just goes out and has an incredible season. Plays almost the most snaps of any DB that you had on the roster. Played a ton of snaps. Was Auburn's best tackler and one of the best players in coverage. And he would make game-defining tackles. Like he would go hit guys in the backfield and stop drives. I still remember, sometimes I think about it before I go to sleep at night. I still think about that game against Kentucky when they threw the little swing pass to Berrien Brown, who is a very, very talented wide receiver. And it was one-on-one, and it was a big defining play, needed to have it. And Caleb Harris just sticks him. A true freshman with an elite junior sticks him in the backfield one-on-one, and he did that over and over again. He was a guy that you would just expect to make big plays, especially in the stopping the run or in the run game. And then you fast forward to 2025, and right off the bat, he changes to a single-digit number, and he's number 8. And science has proven that when you can have a single-digit number, you just become a better player. Well, this time he somewhat bucked science and took a little bit of a step back this past year. Not that he was necessarily awful, but it just wasn't the 2024 Caleb Harris. It's so much so, in my opinion, that when you talk about the secondary, the safeties for this upcoming 2026 season, Caleb Harris a lot of times is not even in the conversation. And I'm guilty of that. I catch myself not even talking about Caleb Harris because we're talking about the young freshman. We're talking about Fred Gaskin. We're talking about transfers. And Caleb Harris seems to just get left out of that conversation. He took a step back in coverage. I think the coverage grade is the one that was the most disappointing, and it really showed its head early against Baylor. He definitely got picked on. He got picked on a lot in coverage. He was almost if there was a liability, that's where it would be. He struggled. He would get lost a lot of times in coverage. But the tackling aspect didn't really change. I think he actually ended up having a few more tackles this past year than he did the previous year, not by a ton. I think he had 6 more total tackles, a lot of solo tackles as well. The ratio was still good. You know how I feel about the solo tackle to assisted tackle ratio. He's well above the 2-to-1 threshold that I like to throw out there because I don't like pile jumpers. I don't like pile padded stats. I like solo tackles. But just think about this. Okay? If we believe that a lot of these young guys are going to take a step forward, and we're going to talk about those particular young guys in just a bit. If we believe those guys are going to take a step forward, what happens if Caleb Harris plays to his potential as well? What happens in that safety room if you have Fagans and you have Winters and you have Gaskin and then you have Caleb Harris back to 2024 Caleb Harris form? That becomes an incredibly elite room, in my opinion. That becomes a room that could rival just about any in the SEC. So we really need to get that guy back, man. We need to get that Caleb Harris, that version of Caleb Harris back. Unfortunately, I mean, I know there's going to be it's a give me now, it's a produce now game, and a lot of these young, hungry guys they're investing in could come up and, who knows, could steal the position or steal those snaps. But I think you need to figure out a way to get him back to where he was and then work a system in place where all these guys can see the field because they're all very, very talented. I have no idea what that looks like. I don't know if one guy slides down to like a nickel roll. Maybe Fagans could do that. The more you can get these guys on the field, the better. So really need Caleb Harris back to his 2024 form. Y'all let me know what you think about that in the chat. See you guys in there. JJ, TK, Dan, all you guys that are here every single morning. Let me know what you think about Caleb Harris. We're going to talk about these young defensive backs because you got 3 that you've put a ton of time, you've put a ton of money into. We're going to talk about each one of those and their impact for this upcoming season. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Precision Tune Auto and Opelika. Look, you can talk about a sponsor all the time, but when you actually utilize it and you experience it personally, that's to me the best advertising. Okay. And I've been there. I've experienced their auto hospitality program. They check on you. It's not like overbearing, but they continue to check on you throughout the process, especially if they identify something that you may want to get taken care of down the road. You don't feel like you're being ripped off. They're honest. You get pictures, you get videos, everything, full 360 inspection when you just go get your oil changed. Good stuff. You need to go check out the one in Opelika off of Pepperell Parkway in Veterans. Make sure you ask for Cody. It's Precision Tune Auto. And also want to give a quick shout out to me, Kyle Rush with Keller Williams Real Estate here in Auburn. Email me at kylerush@kw.com if you want to buy, build, or sell, or even invest in the Auburn, Opelika area. Love to help out you and your family. Give me a shout. We'll be back right after this. These young sophomores, and this could have something to do a little bit with why we're seeing what we're seeing. These young sophomores are dominating a lot of the conversation, and understandably so when it comes to that safety or defensive back unit. And it starts with Eric Winters. And I just saw a tweet that popped up, I believe it was yesterday, from PFF College. Eric Winters was the number 1 rated run defender in the whole entire country, not just in Auburn. It was the whole entire country. He was only a true freshman. I'm sorry, in the SEC. He's only a true freshman last year. Right off the bat, great number, 25, cool number, good for a safety. Let's keep that and let's roll with that. That's good stuff. His size is incredible. His athleticism is incredible. Right there, that's your run stopper. That's your box guy. That is your come downhill, and you're almost playing as an extra linebacker in the game. So when you go to those spread out formations, and maybe a team is looking to try to pound you with getting you spaced out, you got this guy out there that can step down and put a helmet on you, and he proved it last year. So let's see what happens taking another step forward. Let's at least maintain that and maybe take a little bit step forward, become a little bit more dynamic in coverage. I think sometimes I thought he was good in coverage last year, but there were sometimes it's fresh. When you're a freshman, you're going to make freshman mistakes. So, but he's still even with freshman mistakes, he was one of the higher rated players in coverage. It looks like he was the 6th on the roster as far as coverage goes, and he played a lot of snaps, 258 total snaps. Eric Winters can bring the boom. Eric Winters, and look, Jinx, Dana J. Jinx, he said the same, or he said the exact same thing. Eric Winters can bring the boom. He can bring the heat. He is your enforcer. He's going to be the enforcer of that room. And then you slide over just next to him, and it's another guy that you spent a ton on as far as time and money on retaining, and that's Anquan Fagans. And look, I don't think we saw the full version of Anquan Fagans last year. I don't even really think we got some glimpses. Okay. Obviously you had, was it the interception against Kentucky, I believe? Like you saw some of him, but you never really got to see the full potential. And this guy is a freak athlete. What's up, Smooth? Glad you're here. Everyone's favorite Alabama fan has joined us. Good to see you, buddy. Anquan Fagans has probably the most potential of anybody in that whole safety room, or maybe the defensive back room as a whole. He was a return threat in high school. He could slide out and play corner in high school. Did not get to see him last year. I'm expecting him to make a big step forward. Auburn, I feel like, and I don't know if it's the defensive style. I don't know if it's just a bad run of luck, but I can't really remember Auburn, and I'm trying to go back and think of the last one. Jalen Simpson was pretty good at it, but that true center fielder, that true lurker, that guy that you don't even necessarily see him in the shot. You don't ever see him in the TV screen. But when they go deep, he's just there. He's just always there over the top always lurking to pick off one of those underneath routes. Auburn, I just feel like that guy hasn't necessarily been there. And Anquan Fagans, I think, can be that guy. He has all of the tools to be that guy. And we got to see him take that step forward. Felt like he was behind a curtain last year. We never really got to see him. Need him to take that step forward. That puts that defensive back room at a whole nother level. And then this isn't necessarily a safety, but I was kind of shocked when I looked at some of the PFF grades. But Blake Woodby, man, Blake Woodby, another one of those true freshman corners. He's going to be overshadowed a lot by these portal additions, your Andre Jordan, your Shamar Arnaud. He's going to be overshadowed by a lot of those guys. Rayshawn Pleasant, expecting big things out of him too. But Blake Woodby, man, he had the 5th highest coverage rating of any of our DBs, and he played close to 80 snaps last year. So it wasn't like he was just it wasn't like he just played just a handful of snaps. Like, he got some really good experience last year. I remember him having an incredible fall camp, being talked a lot about in spring of last year. I think ESPN had him rated as a 5-star on their particular rankings. He's a little bit undersized, a little bit smaller, but the dude has ability. The dude has all the potential in the world to be something special next year. And all these guys that we're talking about right now, they're going into their second year. So you got a lot of time. You got a lot of time to hopefully, a couple of years to sort of benefit from investing in this group. So those three right there, man, those true sophomores, they're going to be huge factors this year. I agree with K187. Jalen Simpson was definitely underrated. Holy cow. Didn't he have he started off a year, I think, with 5 interceptions in 5 games or something like that. It was crazy. But yeah, anyway, back to these three true sophomores. Those guys are going to be the foundation, I think, moving forward. Need those guys to all take another step forward this upcoming season, and this defense can truly be, or secondary can truly be elite. Because I think everybody would agree that at times last year the secondary could be suspect. I think at times if there was a weakness and the pass rush failed, or they just called a play where they could get the ball out quick, at times maybe the secondary could be suspect at times. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move on. It's time for Jackarse of the Week. Last week it was a hit. Let's do it again. Jackarse of the Week brought to you by Jackarse Rentals. Give them a call, 762-208-5013 if you need equipment rental and you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City, Auburn area. You need to give them a call, whether it's a Mini X or, doesn't matter. Skid steer, they got all of your heavy equipment, and you give JJ a call as well. He will definitely help you out. But let's jump right into this. Jackarse of the Week for me is Jay Billis. And I know that you're probably wondering why. I'm going to play a clip, and then we're going to talk about it. This was on, I think it's Pardon My Take, long-standing show on ESPN, and they were asked him about the Charles Bediako ruling. What are your thoughts on the Charles Bediako ruling, which was obviously that he can't play anymore? The judge said, no, he can't play. So here's his answer, and then we're going to talk about it.
I think, Tony, we've got an issue where the NCAA doesn't have eligibility.
Hold up, man. That was really bad audio. Let's try this again.
I think, Tony, we've got an issue where the NCAA doesn't have eligibility rules that are based on any principle. There's no age limit in college sports. I'm not saying there should be, but people are complaining about that. And we have similarly situated players that are treated differently. You have international players that never matriculated to college but played pro basketball and made a lot of money, and they're eligible. And you've got players that international in nature, didn't go to college, went through the draft, and the NCAA deems them eligible. I don't see a major difference between Charles Bediako and those players, except for the fact that he went to school. And I have a little bit of a problem with the way this has been handled. Certainly the way it's been criticized. Like, Charles Bediako didn't do anything wrong. He just wants to go to school and play ball. And I'm not sure Alabama did anything wrong either, honestly. He got a court ruling. They let him play while the court said he was eligible. They're not playing him when the court ruled that he's not. But in my view, if the NCAA wants to make this about players of a certain age, then say that college sports is for undergraduate students only, and you have a 6-year window after your high school class graduates. Problem solved. At least that would be based on some kind of principle. But there's so many exceptions out there, and the NCAA is making those exceptions, that to single out Charles Bediako of Alabama as some sort of villain in this, I think has been wrong on the part of those that have done that.
Okay, I got 2 big points from this that just make no sense whatsoever. Look, the NCAA is having a hard time. There's no doubt about that, okay? And there may be some perceived inconsistencies on what they deem eligible and what's not. But one thing they have been very consistent about is if you sign a damn NBA contract, you're out of here. There's multiple precedents for that. We talked about this on Afternoon Delight the other day. They have 51 years of precedent here. You go all the way back to Lonnie Shelton. I can't believe I just remembered that name. Lonnie Shelton from Oregon State. He signed an NBA contract, and it was voided. He challenged. He said, my contract was invalid. They're like, doesn't matter. You signed an NBA contract. You're out of here. They had all their wins stripped. They had all of everything taken away. If there's anything the NCAA has been consistent on, it's that if you sign a professional contract, you're out of here. And he signed 3. He didn't sign 1. He signed 3 contracts. You're out. You're done. And then the last thing, singling out Charles Bediako. Brother, it's really easy to single out one. There's only one scenario that fits in this bucket. There's only one guy that we're talking about that signed an NBA contract that was in college, signed an NBA contract and came back. It's real easy to single out one. What are you talking about? Poor, pitiful Charles Bediako, Alabama, the NCAA's picking on him. No, they're just the only scenario that this is played out under. It's really easy to single out one. That's a bar. Write it down. Sorry. Okay. Got to sign. It doesn't matter. He signed a NBA 2-way contract. Doesn't matter. Smooth. Love you, dog. It doesn't matter. He signed 3 different NBA contracts. There's no such thing as a G League contract. He signed 3. They're all NBA contracts. 3 of them. Okay. At school, signed 3 NBA contracts. And I know he didn't play any minutes. Doesn't matter. That's where they've drawn the line. Okay, so nobody's picking on Charles Bediako. You're equating things. You're using false equivalency to compare things. This is the only situation, and it's really easy to single out the number one. Guys, I really appreciate it. Great week of live shows. Enjoy the chat. Enjoy the banter back and forth. Love all you guys that have been here every single day this week. We're going to keep doing it. We got a barn cast tomorrow night. Auburn takes on Kentucky. Really need that one very badly. Need it badly. And we'll see if they can get that one. It's a quad 1 opportunity. We're going to be there. So join us 7:30 for tip, and we'll have some fun no matter what. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast live. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening.